Hello and welcome to part 2 of the Class 43 video for Train Sim World. We're still heading along to Paddington and we're expected to get there at 11? Not 11. 2:31 in the afternoon. And right now it's 2:16. So, at least that's what it looks like to me because I'm quite far away. Anyway, the point is that we're going to be heading there today. We're going to have another problem, another issue, a bit on down the line, and I'll explain why that happens and what went wrong and why I'm an idiot. And also, I'd like to correct myself from the last video. It wasn't Columbia that was the first, it was Challenger. And I'm glad that I at least got something right. But those were the two. I believe the only two that I know of. So anyway, right, let me first explain, because it'll come up later in the video, what went wrong. Basically, this train and others in the game are fitted with something called DSD, and I activated it. And the DSD is separate from AWS, and I believe that I mistakenly thought it was connected. It's not. The thing it is with DSD is that once you activate it, then the train will beep every so often, and it will prompt you to press the button to register that you're still conscious. In real life, that's what you'd have to do. And the good news is that now I know, but obviously back then I didn't hear it. I had Spotify playing in my ear, which is why I couldn't hear the beeping. Now you will be able to hear the beeping in here. I will shut up for a bit to let you listen to basically what it sounds like, and then you'll be able to know, for future reference, what you're supposed to do if you turn DSD on. After a while it will beep, and then you press the button to acknowledge that you've heard the beep, and it will stop beeping. And what happens if you don't press the button? You come to a screeching halt. Not instantaneously, mind you, but it will slam on full service brakes and will refuse to let off of them until you come to a complete stop. So, yeah. But to start with in this video, AWS and DSD are isolated. There are switches on the right hand side of the screen. You won't be able to see them until I move around and show you, but anyway, I'll point them out when we get there. So, as we're heading along, something that you may notice is that the weather is still the same as it was last time. The weather doesn't change, which is kind of a little bit annoying on the longer journeys, but the longest journey that you'll do in a high-speed train is about 30 minutes, so not too long at all. And speaking of which, I wanted to kind of explain the signals again, just for people who are confused about what they actually meant. Green means safe to proceed. You can speed up if you want to. So if it's green, you can go past it and you can even speed up. If it's yellow or amber, whatever, I like to call it yellow because it is actually yellow, not it's more yellow than orange, and that means safe to proceed but don't speed up. So if you see a yellow signal, be sure to kind of slow down a little bit, stop speeding up. A red signal means stop, like that one on the right of us, but the signals that we're going to be following are on the left hand side of the track that we're on. So that one was on our right, and that was for the track on the right of us. So yeah, just pay attention, and that indicator up there is very helpful for that. You can turn that on or off if you want to, but personally I'd leave it on for the first few services that you're doing, just to make sure that you're acquainted. Be sure to look out for signals though as you're going along. Check whether there is actually one there, because once you turn it off, you won't be able to see what the next signal is coming up using that indicator, because it had been turned off. So check, please. Thank you. It's only safety, you only have to follow it. And yeah. I apologise if watching this is a little bit boring, and sitting down and playing it on your own, you will be able to, you know, probably listen to some kind of music app whilst you're doing all this, and be sure to stay focused though, because you will get caught out if you're not paying attention. And it will happen at the most inopportune of times. You know, the train went past there, Class 166, which you drove last time. And as for what video I'm going to be making next and what train is going to be featured, I think I might try a nighttime service with this train. I think I might do, although I could do one on... I think the rapid transit system would probably be the best one for me, because I'm used to that one as well. I'm very acquainted with that one. I got a perfect score the first time around when I played that, which is surprising, because the rapid transit system is in Germany, and I imagine that the constraints for time... Oh, by the way, there's DSD isolation. Once it says, you know, minus, that means it's on. Once it says isolated, it means it's not on. So, just to tell you that. And AWS is on the far side above the red emergency thing. I'm sure it's an emergency stop button. Oh, there's another train there. Yeah, AWS isolation. Turn that on as well. And that beep is to ask you to do something. See, the yellow sunflower thing disappears when it's on. So the AWS system will test itself once it's been activated, and you need to press the button to shut it up to make sure that it's working. Which, of course, in this game I don't think it's possible for things to fail. I just think that it's there to remind you that, you know, in real life you would have to test it to make sure that it was working, because it's a very important safety feature. Anyway, I may do an episode at night with AWS and DSD turned on, just to make sure that, you know, you're getting the most realistic experience out of that. So anyway, there are visual cues though. If you can't hear it, which you might not be able to hear it so very well over me, because the volume... I think one of the main issues that people have pointed out with this game is that the trains are a little bit too quiet. So the engine is basically right behind us, and if this was... I may actually turn the engine volume up, because I think I turned it down a little bit because it was a little bit loud for me when I first played this, but anyway. Another train went past there. Yeah, there are visual cues as well. Obviously the AWS sunflower will appear when it wants you to check a signal, but when it's off it will always stay on, so something for you to remember. So if you can't hear the beeps, there is a visual cue to use for AWS and DSD as well, because there's a... If you see that red light next to the wiper switch on the far left, and there's 3 buttons in a line vertically, there's 2 yellow ones and 1 red. When that red one flashes, that's when DSD... That's when it wants you to press the pedal or press the circle button. The circle button resets both at the same time, so there's AWS again. Oh wait, no it isn't, that's DSD. See, it's flashing now. And me being an idiot, I didn't hear that. However, right, now it's in red. And what that means is it's on full service braking right now. Now at this point I didn't notice that, because I was braking anyway, but now I'm turning it back to running and nothing's happening. Look. Even turning it onto max throttle doesn't do anything. The brakes are locked in full service now. because that's a safety precaution. And then I realised, just at this moment, what the heck had happened. So, yeah, that's what DSD does if you don't listen to it. I'd take this as a demonstration, not rather than a big mistake. It was a big mistake. It was a stupid thing to do, but yeah, just treat it as a demonstration. Now I have to put it into forward again and try and get us moving, and we're moving again. Okay. By the way, in real life they wouldn't set up at max throttle. I just did that to you know, get us rolling again, because we need to make up some time, because that slowed us down quite a bit. And if you'll notice, the speed limit changes to 50 in, well, 750 yards, so yeah. So we are now getting closer to the London Paddington, because the speed limit goes down. As you're coming in, it gets lower and lower, so we need to pay attention to that speed limit change and make sure we adjust things ready for when that happens. It's also important to remember that you need to stay in control at all times. What that means is, if you need to take a break, you should press the pause button, because the pause button will pause everything, including the time. So don't think it'll make you late or anything, just press the pause button, because if you leave the train running along, right, speed limit change, if you leave the train running, AWS, I need to isolate that, DSD, I need to isolate that as well, and they're off now, which is good, so no more annoyance for this episode anyway, maybe in another one, but yeah, point being is that you need to be in control at all times, don't just disappear, right? If you can imagine, this is essentially what driving a train is like. You have to remain in the cab at all times. You have to look out at all times. You have to pay attention to signals at all times. And I have, in fact, taken the test to become a train dispatcher, but I did not get through with that. So, yeah. And the actual tests that drivers take are a lot difficult. I mean, a lot more difficult than what I had to take there. But actual drivers will receive lots and lots of training, 2 or 3 years worth at least of training before they can drive full time. So yeah, do I want to become a train driver? Yes please, but I don't know, it'll be a while. I have to get into the industry first. We're speeding because it's in red. Yeah, there's a lot of visual cues that should tell you when you're doing something wrong. You're probably wondering what that hissing is. That's the brake valve opening and basically hydraulic pressure going into the brakes. That's what that is, that hissing. It happens when you're applying the brakes and when you're taking it off as well. So just be aware of that. Be aware that that's what that hissing noise is. Right, we should be... here we are. So now it's changed to red, and that's because there's the end of the platform in 700 odd yards, and we have to make sure that we stop before we hit that, because that's if you hit that in real life, that's a buffer, and I can't imagine it would be very nice or pleasant to hit that, even at any speed. So yeah. Also, if you pass a red signal at danger, you'll instantly fail it. I think I need to remind you of that. So we need to stop before then, and over time you will gain practice and you'll realise that certain trains have certain braking power. And by the way, here we are at Paddington, but certain trains have certain braking power that you need to be aware of. You need to be aware of how powerful the brakes are if you're going to make use of the whole stop in the guideline to gain extra points thing. Right. Initial braking basically takes off 1 miles per hour every second. Near enough. At least it seems that way. Right. Here we go. And now to unlock the doors, put the train in full service braking, unlock the right hand side of the doors because that's where the platform is. Remember that. That's what you need to do. Stick it in neutral, master key, you can't lock that. I've not yet managed to lock the master key. Even afterwards, turn the wipers off. I'll put them in parked, why not? There we go, we're underneath the big arch of Paddington anyway. So rain won't be coming in. Turn off the climate control. I did try and stop the engine just to see if, it wouldn't let me. I don't know why. Probably because if you press that button, the engine would actually stop. And that wouldn't be very good if you're still moving. Because I think the engine is responsible for the braking power as well. So that's important. Anyway, lock the doors, get back in. I'm an idiot. Right. Lock the right. And we've completed the service. Excellent. And we reached there on time, we're getting loads of points here. And yeah, tells you the distance you've travelled, blah blah blah, time taken. So I hope you enjoyed watching this one. Hope you enjoyed sampling the Class 43, despite the drizzling weather. And I'll see you in another episode of this. See you later.